Live from the CBS Bay Area studios, this is KPIX 5 News.
Now on KPIX 5, signs of recovery in the U.S. economy, but will it reach you? Good afternoon. I'm Ryan Yamamoto.
And I'm Elizabeth Cook. We'll have more on that economic report in just a second. But first, breaking news out of Santa Cruz County.
Yeah, a hoax call of an active shooter caused a lockdown at Santa Cruz High School. The school posted a message on its website that there was an anonymous tip of a shooter on campus, but that tip mentioned a classroom that did not exist. The Santa Cruz Police Department says despite the false nature of the report, multiple departments sprang into action very quickly.
We are still actively clearing all of the campus and all the buildings. Up to this point, we have not found any signs of an active shooter or any injuries on the campus.
Someone was detained near the campus, but police did not have more details about that.
Now to a developing story of an economic bounce back fueled by a GDP report that showed the U.S. economy grew in the last quarter. The economy suffered declines in both of the first two quarters this year. Analysts say this boost of 2.6% growth in the last quarter was fueled by more spending on travel and dining. The U.S. also received fewer imports from foreign countries. A warning, though, this boost will likely not last. The Center for Economic and Policy Research says higher interest rates mean it could be a while before there's another positive report.
And Elizabeth, Wall Street had a positive reaction to the GDP report earlier this morning. Taking a live look at the big board, you can see the Dow is up 300 points to start the morning. But that Wall Street reaction is just their reaction. Money is still tight and prices for things like food are still much higher than this time last year. That leads to food insecurity. In Oakland, leaders touted progress on a new food hub that they say will help fight that problem. If approved, the site would feature a commercial kitchen to support local food entrepreneurs, especially in food insecure communities.
We hope to have events and activities, invite the community to eat. There should not be hunger in East Oakland or anywhere. If we have sun, if we have dirt, if we have seeds and we have great chefs, we should be able to have good food for our people. And this is a critical part of that.
A city council committee unanimously approved to move forward with the food hub's lease negotiations. It will now go to the full city council next week. Once approved, construction would take less than a year.
In San Francisco, the grand opening of a new Lucky store in Bayview means so much to people living nearby. Our photojournalist Rick Villaroman shows us why.
2, 1.
Welcome to the newest supermarket to open in San Francisco.
Roland, I got this area.
And meet Carolyn Blankenship, one of Lucky's newest employees.
Next at check stand 5.
Helpful and enthusiastic, having this job in this location has been a game changer.
You're the best. Now when I have my WIC or need to shop, I can come to my home store and get my groceries in peace, everything that I need.
Those needs included having a chance, an opportunity to do better, to be better.
To be honest, if it wasn't for this shop, I think I'd be getting into some type of trouble.
Located along the bustling 3rd Street corridor in the heart of the Bayview, this location sat vacant since July of 2019, when the former Walgreens closed its doors after 30 years, leaving this community struggling to find a place to shop for their families.
This community has been like a food desert. This community should not have to take a bus or two to go to another grocery store.
Seeing the need, community leaders got together and fought to reopen this location with a better option for food that includes selections from local vendors.
Yvonne Sweets and Bayview Pasta, and their stuff is going to be right in this grocery store.
But it's not just the lack of options for food that left the people in this community hungry. It's the lack of job opportunities, a chance to live and work in a place they call home.
Hi, Mama.
As a young mother with a 7-month-old to support, that opportunity gives her the gratitude to pay it forward and to encourage some of her fellow employees to do the same.
I'm trying to encourage them like, hey, we got to be a mom, we got to provide for our children. We got to do what we have to do. Excuse me, ma'am, I can help you up here.
It's having that sense of family that's much needed in this community.
I mean, it's hard.
My sister right here.
Literally.
Yes, that's my blood brother. Danny King is my blood brother.
Because having family close by continues to build that sense of community and loyalty.
But I really want to thank Reggie for believing in us and giving us, sorry, I'm getting a little emotional. I really want to thank Reggie.
Family's important.
Store manager Reggie Chan understands that keeping a family connection sets this store apart and ensures that it will be a vital part to this community.
We want everyone to be a family, so we hired both of them. Take care of your employees, they'll take care of you and your customer.
That philosophy seems to be working.
When we come to work, we come to work. Our head is in the game when we step through that door. Our playtime is over with.
Everybody that sees that story, I think, wants to go to that grocery store just to meet them. They are such, what a special place.
Yeah, I love them.
Bright spots in our community, no question. Another bright spot is our weather. Let's get to First Alert meteorologist Jessica Burge. Gosh, it's gorgeous outside.
It really is. This is perfect running weather. Ryan, I'm talking to you. As we extend into the next couple days, this will continue to be the trend, actually. Clear skies right now here in the Bay Area, even along our coastline, as high pressure continues to push its way in from offshore, allowing for all those storms to track north. Now, that'll slowly start to creep its way back down as we head into next week. We actually have some rain in the forecast as early as next Tuesday. We'll talk more about that in a second, but let's take it a step back. The daytime highs today are still sitting a little bit below average along the coast, with low 60s in sight, mid 60s in the Bay, and 70s anywhere from our friends up in Napa all the way off into the eastern portions just past Mount Diablo. So 70s for us today, but as we head into the next couple days, we'll see some cooler temperatures around the corner. We'll talk more about that in a bit, just in time for your Halloween forecast, but for now, back to you.
Well, this morning, family and friends held a funeral for the two Berkeley high school brothers who were killed when gunfire erupted at a birthday party. That shooting happened on October 1st at a duplex near the Oakland-Emeryville border. Neighbors say about 30 to 40 teens attended a party, and what started out as a commotion then turned into a fight, and friends described the two brothers, 17-year-old Jazzy Soleto Garcia and 15-year-old Angel Soleto Garcia, as nice and caring and always helpful.
I remember in Secret Santa, he had me, and there was a price limit, and he completely ignored the price limit to give me a nice gift, and I thought that was a really good, nice gesture, and he did that for everyone, all of his friends and all of his classmates.
Two other Berkeley High students were also injured in that gunfire, but are still hospitalized. That shooting came during a surge of gun violence on Oakland streets. No suspects have been arrested. And people in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, marking 4 years since the Tree of Life synagogue massacre.
The commemoration comes as anti-Jewish incidents in the U.S. are at an all-time high, which includes highly publicized recent hateful remarks from the artist formerly known as Kanye West. So while hateful thoughts and words can lead to horrifying actions like in Pittsburgh, Bradley Blackburn shows us what happens as the Jewish community there takes a loving, kind approach to healing.
It looks like a normal day, but October 27th is a day Pittsburgh will never forget. It's been 4 years since a gunman opened fire inside the Tree of Life synagogue during Shabbat morning services. 11 people were killed, 6 more injured in what is the deadliest attack on Jewish people in U.S. history.
To make sense of the senseless, one cannot do, but to develop the right set of skills to be able to help my congregation heal, but at the same time, make sure I'm healing. It's complicated.
In a CBS Mornings podcast, Tree of Life Rabbi Jeffrey Myers says the way to remember the victims is showing kindness to others.
To show that we're above that. That's not how civilized human beings behave. We offer deeds of loving kindness to help our neighbors, to improve our society, to make the world a better place.
As one of those good deeds, volunteers in Pittsburgh cleaned up the Beth Abraham Cemetery on Wednesday. The anniversary comes at a time of rising anti-Semitism. The Anti-Defamation League reported a 34% increase in incidents from 2020 to 2021. The total, more than 2,700, is the highest ever recorded in the U.S.
Anti-Semitism needs to be called out clearly and cogently.
The Tree of Life is planning to build a memorial and museum. The goal is to teach visitors to combat all forms of hatred and bigotry. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News.
President Biden released a statement remembering the somber day, saying, quote, "We stand with the community of Squirrel Hill and Jewish communities across America and across the world in resolving to combat anti-Semitism and hate in all of its forms." The midterm elections are less than 2 weeks away, and opponents against Proposition 26 are ramping up their efforts. Prop 26 would allow in-person roulette, dice games, and sports wagering on tribal lands. The legislation is backed by Native American tribes who want to bring sports betting to California, but only if it's inside their casinos. Opponents say the biggest issues are that it would encourage children to gamble.
With online sports betting, the casinos will be in your home. The casinos will be in the bedroom of your young adults and our youth.
The legislative analyst and director of finance released a projection of what Prop 26 would do to state and local governments. They say it would increase state revenues from payments made by facilities that offer sports betting, but also increase regulatory and law enforcement costs.